Welcome to JazzTime.com. JazzTime.com is an online store that buys, sells, trades authentic luxury watches. We make these videos so our customers can easily choose the best watch for themselves in the comfort of their own home. We offer the lowest prices anywhere online. If you want to know the price of the watch, simply click on the links in the description below. We greatly appreciate it if you would buy a watch from JazzTime.com once in a while. Today we'll be reviewing the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Offshore self-winding chronograph watch. This is the model number 26480TI.OO.A027CA.01. We'll be going over the dial, bezel, case, crown, strap, clasp, and we'll talk about the movement towards the end of the video. And of course, one thing to mention, since it is quite a long model number for this watch, we'll have a link to this watch in the description below. But let's take a closer look at this dial. So, jumping right into the dial, you can see very beautiful blue style dial. You can see as this is a chronograph watch, we have additional sub dials as well, as you would expect from a chronograph watch. We have a 30 minutes elapsed time at the 3 o'clock position, 12-hour elapsed time at the 9 o'clock position, and the actual seconds for the watch at the 6 o'clock position. This is where the if normally the seconds hands would be rotating around the dial of the face, instead we have it at that small sub dials instead, as this central seconds hand right here that's currently static in position is actually for the chronograph function with the two pushes here at the 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock position, which I'll show you later as we move on to it. But as you can see, that beautiful blue dial matching with this sort of inverse domed outer edge for the dial gives a nice little depth to it, as it makes it look a little more dynamic in terms of adding that depth. Instead of just being just a regular rehaut that's just a standstill, you have this nice smooth curve that goes into the face of the watch that gives it that nice sort of depth to the face of the watch. Otherwise, the patterning itself it's pretty much what Audemars Piguet is known for the specific dials. This patterning is called the mega tapisserie pattern. There's other tapisserie patterns as well, such as the petite tapisserie, grand tapisserie, and then I believe there's like a sort of a ladies tapisserie as well. But this is the mega tapisserie. This is the largest of the patternings, where this square boxy square look is actually, you can actually see the light sort of give it more depth as well. It sort of juts out from the face of the dial. It's not so there's actual indentations for each of those little squares, what makes that nice background a little more dynamic in conjunction with the outer edge wall of the watch itself. Nice colored use, or nice white use of white for the indices for the very outer edge. As you can see, each white indency, Arabic numerals for every 5 position, or hour marker position. And of course, each hour marker is fashioned in steel with a nice little luminosity filling as well, which I can actually show you here. The luminosity is also on the hour hand as well, and on the minute hand as well, skeletonized in the center of the hands, of course, to not sort of block those sub dials from being read. So let me actually show you the luminosity on this watch. So I'm going to charge that up just a little bit, and then we're going to shut off the lights here. And there we are. You can see very beautiful glow in the dark. The luminosity is a green luminosity, so this watch will be able to be read at night as well as during the day. Okay, go ahead and turn these lights back on. All right. So besides that, also nice. Besides that, instead of making the whole subdials, all the subdials just that nice gray color, we have the nice sort of contrasting from the gray with additional sort of a silverish outlining for each of the actual elapsed time subdials. And what I mean by that is that, of course, these two subdials track the elapsed time along with that central seconds hand. So the sort of like a landmark indicator is that these are the two that will be tracking your elapsed time for the chronograph functions, while the 6 o'clock one is your ticking seconds. All right, moving on to the case now, or rather the bezel. The bezel is nicely brush polished. As you can see, the brush polish matching very beautifully with the brush polish on the case as well, all in a uniform vertically polishing shape. Of course, that's always broken up by the hexagonal screws that you see all around the octagonal bezel. And it brings a nice little shine, a little high polish to the face of the watch to give it just a nice little pop of contrast. As you can see, they also added a nice edge of high polish as well to the edge of the bezel. Once again, to really encompass and give that watch a nice little shape, instead of just doing all brush polish and it just sort of gets muddied out by just having that brushed all the way through. You get these nice pops of high polish from the screws themselves, and then also from the bezel. It really gives a nice contrast to the face of the watch. The bezel itself, the bezel material itself is a titanium bezel, and that's to match with a titanium case as well. The Chrono Pushers and the crown are also in that titanium. This whole watch is in titanium, of course, not for the strap, as the strap is rubber. But anywhere that you would see that sort of grayish metal, it is in fact titanium. So this watch feels very nice on the wrist. It doesn't feel too heavy, even though being a 42mm watch, it won't feel too heavy on the wrist because the titanium is a lighter material. So you won't get that sort of wrist fatigue from wearing such a large watch. So as there's not really much else to say about the bezel, and we move on to the case. I did mention it's a 42mm case size, so from my index finger to my thumb here, that's 42mm in diameter. I did mention that this watch is a large watch, but in terms of the typical Audemars Piguet offshore watches, this is actually one sort of slimmed down from the the generic offshore pieces. This piece itself is actually very unique, as it may not look like it at first, but it's a 42mm. Mostly offshores, they either come in the 44mm, or for the ladies, I believe, is a 37 or 38mm sized watch. But now we have this. Now we have a 42mm, so that's 2mm smaller than the average offshore. But also from the side profile view of the case, you can see it's still a pretty thick watch overall. But now it's sort of within. It's within more of a slimmer profile, because now we have a slimmer case that's around, like, I believe around like 12.5mm or so, compared to compared to a typical offshore, which can be around sort of like a deep seas size, which is around like a 14.5mm. So we have a smaller case size overall. So not only does this watch feel very light, it doesn't go too small going into a smaller range where it would be a lady's watch, but it's just a nice sort of midpoint between the two. You have a 42mm watch, titanium material for a nice weight to the watch that isn't too heavy, and then now we have a slimmer case, so now it will fit suit cuffs, dress cuffs without stretching or such things like that, and it won't sit too high off the wrist. So if you had your eyes on an offshore watch, and you're interested in something not so big, because the offshores, like I said, they're 44mm, this could be the choice for you. Now this one, I believe, was just recently released, so if you're interested in this piece, like I said, we have links to the watch in the description below, which we can get this watch for you. But anyways, moving on now, we're going to move on to the crown and the chronograph pusher. So I just want to show you this side before I actually use the functions. You can see a very beautiful AP logo on a brush finish at the top of the crown. Nice edging of the high polish to give that sort of shine to the face, to the side of the watch. And just want to show you the other side of the case one more time. So nice brush finish of that titanium throughout. But you also have the very beautiful chamfers of the high polish as well. Same thing on this side. It's it's basically a brush finish throughout, and then a nice mirror polish on the crown, on the Chrono Pushers, and on the chamfers as well, to sort of help keep that nice and windowed with a beautiful line of beautiful bordering of that high polish. All right, so let's check out the crown function. So the crown, of course, located here at the 3 o'clock position. We're going to unwind it counterclockwise as shown. In a standard position is where you can wind your AP watch. This is going to be 15 to 20 clockwise turns is all you need to get it started once more. Pulling the crown out to the next position will allow you to adjust the date, which is located here right between the 4 and 5 o'clock position. And you can just adjust it simply by going clockwise. And then pulling the crown out to the final position will allow you to adjust the hands bidirectionally as shown. I'm going to set it back to the 10 and 2. And then always press the crown back in and screw it nice and tight in against the case, as you want to keep your watch water resistant. Specifically for this AP watch, you're looking at a water resistance of 100 meters or 330 feet with the crown nice and tight in against the case. Moving on to the Chrono Pushers now. It's just a standard chronograph feature. It looks very beautiful. One thing I didn't mention is look how beautiful they use the colors. They're basically how they use their colors and how they use their polishes. It's just minimal use of it just to give it a nice pop in various areas. As you can see, the Chrono Pushers has just a sliver of blue that matches with the dial, sliver of the blue matching on the crown and on the other chronograph push at the 4 o'clock position, and it really just adds a little bit more to the face of the watch overall than just being, you know, just a mundane all steel, all brush finish watch. So just nice little touches and nice, you know, nice use of the high polish and colors overall. So I'm going to show you the chronograph features now. So we're going to press the 2 o'clock position. That's going to start that central seconds hand. You can see it's currently white tipped with a sort of blue body. And I'm going to stop it once again, and then the resetting is at the 4 o'clock, and there we are. So very cool. So very cool feature. Not too sure how useful it is for most everyday people, but you know, you can use it for numerous different things. You know, most people, if you were maybe into NASCAR or into yacht racing, you could use it to track your lapse time for races. But even if you're not doing things like that, you can even just use it for everyday things like cooking. You could set a lapse, you know, hit that start and stop feature whenever you like, and just keep track of your lapse time whenever you like. It's a nice little feature to have, but mainly it is just how they've done this specific model is very beautiful, because typically the chronograph features itself match the crown in terms of shape. So it would be sort of this sort of crown look with a circular button at the 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock position. But now we have this nice aggressive, it's more aggressive and streamlined shape, where, you know, it juts out and goes back down into, if that sort of matching with the case size, so the shape of the case, the silhouette of it isn't interrupted. So now we just have that these buttons in place of what would have interrupted that silhouette of the case. All right. Moving on to the strap now. The strap, nice blue rubber strap, as you can see, and on the other side as well. Oops. Beautiful blue rubber strap on both sides. Okay. For the buckle itself, also in the titanium, with the AP name, or rather AP letters. And it's also in the titanium, as I said. The pin buckle. The really the important thing here is this case back. Very beautiful engraving of this sort of patterning logo on this case back. Typically, you would see on Offshores, I believe they would have more of an exhibition case back, but now instead we have this beautiful titanium case back. As you can see, even when I tilt it against the light box, it has sort of a radiant sunbursting sort of feature to it. Once again, you have the high polished screws adding a nice little contrast to it, but overall it's just a very beautiful patterning, nicely engraved by Audemars Piguet for the Royal Oak Offshore. All right, so the movement of course is housed in the case itself there. For the movement, a little special thing about this movement as well is that it's a caliber 2385 movement. It's the movement that it would be used in the standard Royal Oaks, or even the female Offshores, the 37 millimeter versions. And so the typical offshore would use a 3186 movement, which is sort of a modular movement that they've used. I believe it's a base of 3140 with a 3186, and basically it's a base movement, and then they add on the chronograph feature as a more of a modular movement for their watches. It's a larger movement as well, being 29 millimeters, but the movement that this one has, this AP has a 2385 movement. It has a total sizing of 26.2 millimeters, so about almost 3 millimeters smaller than the typical offshore movement, but you know, still has the same thing of balance spring type, annular balance spring type, frequency of 3 hertz. You know, it has the it's an automatic watch, and it has a oscillator made of 18 karat gold as well, and it's similar power reserve with a 40-hour power reserve made of, you know, the movement itself made of 304 different parts, 37 joules, like so on and so forth. But the main difference between that movement, besides it being smaller, so that it can fit a smaller offshore size of 42 millimeters, is also that the chronograph feature is integrated into the movement. So it doesn't have that it doesn't have a chronograph that chronograph movement placed on top of that, of, you know, a base movement. The movement was built from the ground up with the chronograph feature in mind, which is what this has. And you're probably wondering, well, what does that matter? Like, what you know, are you going to really notice the difference? No, technically you wouldn't notice the difference, but there are some cases, as AP was switching to the sort of modular movements, that they've been having more issues than just a regular integrated chronograph movement, and it's just more efficient that way to just sort of, you know, have the base of it be, you know, made with the chronograph feature in mind, as rather than just sort of slapping on another chronograph movement onto a modular movement. I would assume there would be less issues that way. I can be 100% sure I'm not a watchmaker, but that's what from what I understand, that's what the sort of difference between those two things are. But anyways, let me show you this watch on my wrist now. So I'm actually gonna have to take it out of the light box for a little more room. So give me one moment here as I place on this watch, and there we are. So here's that Audemars Piguet watch. You can see, very beautiful watch. I have an average man size wrist of a 7-inch wrist, and you can see fits perfectly on my wrist. Doesn't look too big. It looks just the perfect size, really. That blue, absolutely blue, beautiful blue. Once again, the high polish, just a minimal use of the high polish really makes the whole overall the watch pop way more. Rubber strap, comfortable rubber strap. Can't really say much about it, just besides it being a rubber strap. Of course, there's a little bit of play here from the connection joint of it to give you, you know, not such a stiff wear on this watch. Nice, beautiful brush finish on that titanium. You can see that the sort of 45-degree angle lugs really help encompass this whole shape of the watch onto the wrist, so it doesn't feel like it juts out and wears much larger. It feels like it wears a little bit smaller because it conforms to the side, it conforms to the wrist. So if you're interested in this watch or any other watch for the lowest possible price, check out our website at jazzhand.com. If you liked the video, please like, comment, subscribe below. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys soon.
If you want to find out more about the watch you just saw in the video, you can just click below on Show More to see the full description. Then you can check the link next to Model as seen in video, click on it, and you will get to the proper page where you can see all the details. If you're watching on a mobile phone, you have to click on the arrow down on the right hand side below the video to see the full description. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you would like to share this video with your friends, you can use the share button below and share it on any platform you like. If you have questions, constructive feedback, want to tell us about some mistakes or misspeaks, just write a comment below. If you want to see more videos like this, you should subscribe to our channel and visit our channel page where you can find all the videos. And if you're interested in a specific watch brand, you can check out our playlists If you want to check the price for a watch or want to buy one, remember at jazztime.com you always get a steep discount, so you should check the prices with us. If you want to know the price for a specific watch, just go to Google, type in JazzTime, plus the brand, model and the details you're interested in, and Google will find the right page for you. Thank you for watching.